Hello, everybody, and welcome to the BlueMed CSA final conference, where we will be showcasing the important achievements of the BlueMed CSA project. My name is Sheila Heymans. I'm the Executive Director of the European Marine Board, and I will be your host and moderator for this morning. So I see that we are already a little bit over time, so we're going to start off immediately, and we're just going to go straight into the message from all of the important people from the authorities. So we will start with Gianluigi Consoli, who is from the Italian Ministry of Universities and Research. He's from the he's the Director General for Coordination, Promotion and Exploitation of Research, and the Head of Office for Programming and Promotion of International Research. So I'm hoping that he is here and that you guys, so again, Luigi, if you can start your message, that would be great.
Yes, thank you, Sheila. Do you hear me?
We do indeed. I don't know if everybody can see you, but we definitely, there we go. And we can see you as well. Perfect.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Good morning to all of you. First of all, I would like to extend to all of you my warmest welcome. Thank you for a kind invitation to the final event of this critical and important project. I'm really pleased to celebrate with you today the great work and result achieved within the BlueMed initiative. After more than 4 years of support to the BlueMed initiative, the BlueMed Coordination Support Action, a project funded by European Commission and coordinated by Italy, CNR, leading a consortium of 11 EU partners, is coming to an end. From the very beginning, Italy has been the prime mover to this initiative, which have coordinated in agreement with the EU Commission and other countries. And thanks to the excellent work of Professor Fabio Fava, whom I would like strongly to thank, and thanks, of course, to the extraordinary work of CNR. BlueMed CSA has always been considered as strategic priority of the ministry and among the most important European initiatives in which we participate. Since its design, the project created the conditions for promoting the dialogue and consultation of the BlueMed community at national and Mediterranean level. Stakeholders from different sectors, also from non-EU countries, have been engaged via dedicated BlueMed platforms to develop a shared strategic research and innovation agenda, select thematic and cross-cutting priority goals, and the associated implementation plan, a tool addressing the joint implementation of strategic R&I priorities identified by the 16 countries of the Mediterranean area involved in the process. Training and workshops have been organized among the activities to promote the implementation action plan. 4 feasibility studies on different topics have been carried out by the multidisciplinary startup actions, and a great capacity building action has been achieved with the Young Communication Ambassador programs. In Italy, the mobilization of the national community led to set up of the interministerial group on the blue growth and the publication of the BlueMed Italian white paper, an overview of relevance, obstacles, and proposal of the key sectors for a blue growth. Throughout its lifespan, the project strongly supported the activities of the group of senior officials BlueMed working groups leading the BlueMed initiative, with particular reference to the launch and development of the pilot initiative for a healthy plastic-free Mediterranean Sea, coordinating the effort of national hubs. The present project contributed to create all conditions for a sustainable and regenerative blue growth in the Mediterranean area, for a more productive region, a wider social cohesion, and a greater political stability in the area. Such a strategic work will be exploited in the frame of the Horizon Europe mission Starfish 2030, Restore Our Ocean and Waters, and the coming PPP, Sustainable Blue Economy. The preservation of this common heritage has in fact obvious repercussions on relations with the southern Mediterranean countries in terms of cooperation and scientific diplomacy. In this regard, let me also remind that in 2017, the BlueMed Initiative was recognized as a strategic initiative for the EU by all 28 EU countries and was institutionally opened to the countries of the Southern Shore, Jordan, Turkey, and the others. And the EU Commission established an ad hoc coordination committee within the Euromed group of senior officials. It goes without saying that Italy, due to its strategic positioning in the heart of the Mediterranean, has always been strongly interested in fostering cooperation among all the nations bordering the Mediterranean Sea. Such interest covers many sectors and many initiatives, but here I want only to mention a few. First of all, I want to mention the PRIMA initiative, which is aiming at fostering research activities in the field of food production and water management, and where Italy has committed to invest 50 million euro, and in the past 3 calls have already funded 66 R&I projects. In this context, it is also essential to underline the importance of 5+5 dialogue, which sees the participation of 10 Western Mediterranean countries from the Northern and the Southern Mediterranean. It represents a highly inclusive reality that currently involves other cross-cutting actors, such as the European institutions and the European for the Mediterranean, progressively expanding to new fields of cooperation within the framework such as renewable energy and environment, health, education, culture, tourism, and water, among others. At the European level, next European partnerships are being created in framework of Horizon Europe, and Italy has already committed 37 million euros for the new partnership for a climate neutral, sustainable and productive blue economy. At national level, the result that the BlueMed Initiative has achieved so far can be seen in a newly approved Italian National Research Program 2021-2027, which dedicates significant part to the knowledge, the technological innovation, and the sustainable management of marine ecosystem. This in order to redesign the concept of marine sustainability that guides the creation of functional solutions to the protection and integrity of marine ecosystems in harmony with the presence of man. Marine sustainability is achieved by taking advantage of goods and services offered by the environment in a way that does not erode biodiversity and does not compromise the functioning of ecosystems. In this frame, Italian National Research Program 2021-2027, which will guide the Italian research for the next 7 years, is fundamental for the Italian researchers to further develop the knowledge in this important field, to provide information useful to guide and redesign the economic activities that directly or indirectly insist on marine environment, including mobility, ports, tourism, industry, fishing and aquaculture, energy production, extraction of mineral and other land-based activity, which through the network of inland waters dump waste and pollutants of agriculture, industrial and civil origin into the sea. The challenge that research and innovation must respond to enable the new concept of marine sustainability are divided into 6 research areas. 1, knowledge of marine ecosystems and the coastal strip. 2, industrial and digital technologies for navigation and sustainable management of operations at sea. 3, infrastructure innovation for the development of a new economy sustainable linked to the sea. 4, new models for the sustainable enhancement of marine resources. 5, tools observatories for the knowledge of marine and coastal ecosystem. And 6, last one, construction of management models based on the ecosystem approach. In conclusion, the Italian Ministry of University and Research will continue to support the effort to build a more sustainable future for the Mediterranean and to push forward with the implementation of a new ecosystem-based strategies. Once again, let me express my sincere congratulations to all people involved in this fundamental initiative, which paved the way for a new direction for a safeguarding and sustainable growth of this common heritage of inestimable importance and beauty, which is the Mediterranean Sea. So I wish you a very successful meeting. Thank you very much.
Your microphone, please, Sheila.
Sorry. Thank you very much, Gianluigi. Next, we will go to a video recording from John Bell. He is the Director for the Healthy Planet at the European Commission's Director General for Research and Innovation. So if you can play the video, please. Do we have the video playing? I can't see it.
Start.
Buongiorno, John Bell speaking here from the Research and Innovation Healthy Planet Directorate. To Filippo Di Rossi and Sheila Heymans, I send you our best regards, and hopefully we can meet
Margherita.
on the coasts of the Mediterranean at some point in the near future to celebrate the great work that you're here to talk about today. So, dear friends and stewards of the Mediterranean, dear ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the kind invitation to this final event of this critically important project that I had the pleasure to launch now some years ago in Rimini at Ecomondo. And I guess what we can say now about our work together in the Mediterranean, Mare Nostrum Futura Nostra Est, what we do in the Mediterranean, our future, our inner sea, is also our future for the oceans and seas in the European Union's transition. I cannot be with you today, I'm sorry, but I'd like to take the opportunity to emphasize the importance of a healthy Mediterranean sea to promote social and economic growth now and for future generations. It doesn't require me to say that the Mediterranean Sea is a crucial crossroads for the history, economy and culture of Europe, the Middle East and North African countries. It is the centre in many ways of European civilization, trade, commerce and culture, and a lot of our fate will be decided on how well we work with our Mediterranean Sea. It's a living witness of the deprived status of our environment. It's also highly exposed to climate change, warming 20% faster than the world average, with visible impacts on the marine environment. An estimated 229,000 tons of plastic is leaking into the Mediterranean Sea every year. The COVID-19 pandemic has brought back some unsustainable habits, increased consumption of single-use plastic packaging, littering, and the use of personal cars, for example. But at the same time, it's brought a new understanding of how much we depend and interact with our natural world for our health and the resilience of our societies. As I said before, the challenge of the century is to reconcile the biosphere with our economy and society, and it starts here. So we know there can be no return to business as usual. We need an economy that gives back to the earth more than it takes away. At the start of the European Commission's mandate, the European Green Deal was made our #1 priority with the overarching goal of a climate neutral Europe by 2050. That's a 30-year commitment beyond a policy or investment cycle. It's who we are as the European Union. It's an ambitious package of measures showing the seriousness of getting it done, looking at how we can achieve the necessary environmental, social and economic transformations required to bring about a greener, cleaner, fairer Europe now and for future generations, ensuring all the while that nobody is left behind. So it's quite a challenge. Research and innovation has to act and step up to become an enabler of the Green Deal transitions across all major work streams: climate, energy, industry, circular economy, buildings, mobility, food and farming, biodiversity, ecosystems and pollution. There's 54 groups working in the Commission at the moment across the Green Deal on 11 work streams. So we're at this critical moment of transition where science is shifting from being an observer to an actor, from evidence to prediction, from research to policy. We need science, research and innovation to light the way through the 21st century by demonstrating, piloting and scaling up new approaches and solutions. So we can proudly together look forward to our new Horizon Europe programme for research and innovation, which is starting this year and which I think will set the scene for a major transformation. The new the new Horizon Europe programme offers new policy instruments beyond the traditional research and innovation topics to help with green and blue transitions. One of the big novelties are the proposed Horizon Europe missions that aim to deliver evidence-based solutions to some of the greatest challenges facing our world. The mission board has proposed a mission Starfish 2030 to restore our ocean and waters with targets by 2030, and under the outstanding leadership of Pascal Lamy and a board which really many of us will know, there's a great ambition to change the context by preventing and remedying pollution, enabling our zero pollution ambition, protecting and reversing the degradation of aquatic ecosystems in line with the EU biodiversity strategy, and building this new sustainable blue economy that is climate neutral and sustainable and fair. So in the Commission, we're now working on a detailed implementation plan for the mission that will hopefully be fully rolled out later this year. Now, regional cooperation such as we have witnessed with across the Mediterranean, which is really inspiring and exemplary, offers a unique opportunity for people to sit around the table and to be part of deliberating on decisions, be part of the dialogue, owning the process, setting direction and committing with engagement. So you've already experienced and shown the way on how to work together on a sea basin scale. This has really been impressive and something which has led the way for other areas and other sea basins and oceans. We'd like to replicate such an approach now and scale it up to a European partnership which brings together the different European sea basin cooperative experiences and strategic research and innovation agendas into one overarching programme with the resources to do what is needed. I'm referring to the future partnership of a climate neutral, sustainable and productive blue economy to which you have and are contributing to, and which will be kicked off as a co-funded partnership under Horizon Europe. Whether we talk about the future mission, this partnership or the Horizon Europe programme in its entirety, what really counts is actually your constant engagement, your cooperation, your insight, your willingness to continue to work to enhance the much needed knowledge, to upscale it, to co-create with the coastal communities, to connect those who are going to be most affected by what happens, and to jointly deploy the proposed solutions. Pooling our beliefs, our efforts and our resources has been the leitmotif of the BlueMed Initiative, and to keep this spirit for any future work will be essential for any successful joint initiative. So I'm calling on you to be part of the animating spirit of taking the spirit of the BlueMed and making it the way in which we work across the sea basins of Europe for the years to come. On the 2nd of February, 6 years after the first Union for the Mediterranean Ministerial Declaration on the Blue Economy, the ministers of the member states of the Union for the Mediterranean, including the EU, and the 15 countries of the southern and eastern Mediterranean adopted a new declaration. The Ministerial Declaration firmly commits to cooperating closely towards a sustainable management of the Med. It's worth noting that ministers welcome the BlueMed Initiative and the Pilot Initiative for a Healthy plastic-free Mediterranean Sea, and call upon all Union for the Mediterranean countries to contribute to its implementation. So this is a really important recognition of your work, and it's a milestone in cooperation and development across the region. Let me congratulate you on the success of your work, which was fully recognised by the ministers. It is precisely the cooperation at all the relevant levels, stimulating pan-Mediterranean network building and coordinating thematic platforms. The CSA is an example of achieving outstanding results on implementing and operationalising, including a shared strategic research and innovation agenda and co-creating the implementation plan, supporting the work of the group of senior officials officially appointed from the Mediterranean countries that strongly steer and contribute to the implementation of the priorities. And I want to thank my colleagues here for making this happen. The rollout of the pilot initiative for a healthy plastic-free Mediterranean Sea and support for the startup actions. It's a great record and a great legacy of achievement. There's no doubt that these are important milestones and a solid basis to contribute to the new sustainable blue economy strategy in the Mediterranean countries and beyond, and to create and enhance a network of BlueMed concerned and active people. I'd like in particular to mention the BlueMed Young Communication Ambassadors, who will also help create and enhance the future common paths in the co-responsibility spirit of the One Planet, One Ocean approach. Our Commissioner Maria Gabriel has been very much impressed by the work of our young ambassadors in the Black Sea and in other parts of the Mediterranean. And she's giving a very strong message that she strongly supports this initiative and this action to bring the next generation and put them at the wheel in terms of communicating the needs of the EC basins and what it is that can be done to mobilise people to deliberate a better future for the Mediterranean and the sea basins around. So in conclusion, we need a massive scale up of a social governance, business and technological innovation to enable the Green Deal transformation, setting us on a path to a cleaner, greener, fairer society. The goal here is a new destination for each and every one of us in the European Union, that by 2050, where we live, the destination will be a different, better, cleaner, healthier, fairer and more sustainable place. The kind of thing you'll be able to sit around and say, I was part of that when we started clearing up our Mediterranean through cooperation together and imagination and the harnessing of knowledge and science and regional cooperation. So we've seen in this dreadful pandemic the urgent need for fundamental transformation in how we do things, this reconciliation of the biosphere and the economy. And we need to show people that the transitions are beneficial for our health and well-being, for the economy, for the planet, and ultimately for our families, our friends, our children, our neighbourhoods, and those who follow us in the society that they will inherit. Because after all, that's what the Mediterranean centre of Europe has shown us, is how civilization is possible. Research and innovation as a policy for opportunity in the long term is ideally placed to play a major role in our ambition to be at the forefront of the transformation, to set a new direction and to give support to policymakers and citizens and investment. This will be very important in the recovery period. So it's very important to continue the work of the group of senior officials, and we will continue to co-chair it together with our partners from the Union for the Mediterranean and with the full support of all the members. I'm very, very pleased to have this opportunity to be at this milestone moment with you all today. I think it's a great, great sign of achievement that we can get from the imagination and the aspiration that we started off with in Rimini in Ecomondo to the realization and the implementation and the future that we see here today. So you have our commitment to move forward in this spirit together. We're all responsible individually and collectively for the great transformation that is ahead of us. Let's work together for a bluer, fairer, more sustainable future for the Mediterranean Sea. And I'd like to congratulate all of you involved in the BlueMed CSA and the organisation of this final conference. I wish you very successful 2 days and look forward to the outcomes. Grazie mille. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everybody. So that was John Bell. Now we're going to have words of welcome from the two BlueMed Initiative Co-Chairs. First, Sigi Gruber. Sigi.
Good morning to everyone. Thank you, Sheila, Mr. Consoli, Margherita, Fabio, all partners. It's always difficult to talk after John Bell. But I just wanted to mention that 25 years ago, the European Union and the Southern Mediterranean partners committed to turning the Mediterranean basin into an area of dialogue, exchange, and cooperation. This 25th anniversary of the Barcelona Convention indeed reminds us that a strengthened Mediterranean partnership remains a strategic imperative for the European Union. Dialogue, exchange of good practice, and cooperation for the Mediterranean basin as a whole is what this project succeeded to achieve. The established trust, the enthusiasm will certainly remain as the most important legacy. And for that, I would like really to thank all of you who have engaged so hard and so committed in this work. This legacy will really now turn into a new chapter. The project is finishing, but not the cooperation, nor the dialogue, nor the exchange of good practice. And I hand over now to Mahmoud. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Sigi. So our next speaker will be Mahmoud Abuhussein. He is the Higher Council for Science and Technology from the High Council of Science and Technology for the Jordan Co-Presidency of the Union of the Mediterranean. So Mahmoud, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you all. I welcome you at this final conference. Actually, I consider it's just a new beginning of responsibility, action, and solidarity for efforts to achieve goals that will reflect on society and life in general in a positive way. Actually, we know that our increasingly unsustainable use of marine resources for economic activities has hurt the health of our oceans, seas, and coasts. Also, we know the global lockdown measures used to curb the spread of the coronavirus pandemic have affected fishing, tourism, and maritime transport industries. So, through BlueMed Initiative, we called governments and businesses and all of us to rebuild in a way that ensure more responsible use and restoration of the ocean, seas, and coasts. We know that the current pandemic has caused a disturbance across all sectors of the blue economy, but we should take advantage of this moment to ensure a sustainable recovery. So welcome all. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mahmoud. So that ends the welcome session. So thank you very much for everybody who contributed to this session. We will now go into the introductory session, and as you will notice, we are a little bit over time, so there's definitely not going to be time really for questions and answers. But if you want to, there is a BlueMed exchange, coffee exchange that's happening this afternoon. And there will be a link in the chat that will come up at some stage that you can see where to go to get there, so that you can ask any questions that you might have of the next session. So next we will have Fabio Trincardi. He's from the National Research Council of Italy. He's the Director of the Department of Earth Systems Science and Environmental Technologies, and he is the coordinator of the BlueMed CSA. Fabio will tell us about the status of the Mediterranean Sea. I'm really looking forward to it. Take it away, Fabio.
Thank you, Sheila. We can move to the next slide. Thank you. So I'll try to give a quick glance of the situation of the Mediterranean as a start for any further discussion. Two slides from outside the Mediterranean, let's say at the scale of the planet. The key point here is that we should think in terms of limits to growth. So we come from 70 years of great acceleration. We live in the Anthropocene, but we developed our economy for decades with the illusion that economic growth can be linear and unlimited. And this brought us away from the so-called planetary boundaries in many respects. And this action, if you can enter the next, is bringing the planet towards irreversible boundaries, changes of states, the so-called tipping elements. So we can go through a number of irreversible changes of state with effects on climate and global change. So how do we look at the ocean? The risk is that we look at the ocean with the same approach. So we are going to reproduce a great acceleration in the ocean because we go there to look for food, materials, space, and sometimes in conflicting uses of the ocean and reproducing the same mistakes we made in the past centuries on land. The ocean, on the other hand, is helping the planet because it is absorbing part of the increase of temperature, and it is counteracting the effect of the CO2 increase, because without the ocean, CO2 would be above 600 ppm, and we are only 415. And it has also acted so far as a huge trash bin for the economy on land, and this cannot last anymore. If you can go to the next, this is what Margherita, okay, this is just to talk in terms of great acceleration. The key parameters of the economy and the use of the environment offshore are just similar curves, unsustainable curves, as we have seen on land in the last century. So we can move to the next slide and into the Mediterranean. Margherita, I need you can push again. Okay, so if we want to move towards an healthy and resilient Mediterranean, we have three major sets of problems. We have to consider the natural hazards of this geologically young basin. We have to take into account the ecosystem degradation that already exists because of wrong choices in the past century. And we have to consider the future, and in particular the fact that the Mediterranean is a hotspot of climate change, which in a nutshell is a basin warming up faster than the average of the planet. And all these are legacies of the great acceleration. So we need now a circular economy approach to the blue economy to revitalize endangered areas, particularly coastal industrial plants, offshore dumping sites, obsolete infrastructures. We need to prevent further environmental impacts in the future, and we use sustainably the resources that we still have. Next. So the natural hazard, just very quickly, the basin is geologically young, so we have a problem with the seismicity, active faults, volcanoes on land and underwater, slides, submarine slides, coastal splashes, the generation of tsunami, and this all brings us the need to have a multi-risk approach to the Mediterranean basin. Next. Next again, this was Andy Warhol on volcanoes. When it comes to ecosystem degradation, again, as I said, these are all legacies of the great acceleration. There are a number of new directives from Europe. I'm not going to discuss all of them, but certainly the Marine Strategy Framework Directive is the key one in this, and goes into the Sustainable Development Goal 14, life below water and quality of the ocean. Next. Okay, the ecosystem degradation is also still poorly addressed in the Mediterranean, because the number of data is to characterize this in water, sediment, biota, and the biological effects are really few hundreds of data points, which are also spatially biased because they concentrate mostly near shore. And if you can enter the next, this is in front of the fact that the Mediterranean has a huge number of hotspots for pollution along the coast, and this is probably an under-evaluated map. There are probably many more. Another key point in the Mediterranean is the overfishing problem. So we have a huge amount of fish resources, but they have been poorly managed in the last several decades. But in this curve, without going in detail, we see that there is, in particular in the last decade, a hope and a hint of an improvement. So we went from 88% of overfishing, now we are in the 70s, so that there is a little bit. So if we manage jointly among all the 22 countries, we can manage better the fish stocks at the scale of the basin. Next. Okay, it is important to keep in mind also the seafloor situation, which it is not doing well at all in the Mediterranean. These are just few examples. This is difficult to understand because it is a little bit cryptic kind of data. These are images of the backscatter from the seafloor. On the left, in the south of Italy, near Gioia Tauro harbor, and the reflectivity of the seafloor goes in tones of gray, and if you look at the black circles, these are all illegal dumping in about 400-500 meters water depth. In the central image, you see that the color tones are different, but you see the dumping sites in whitish color, and when they are blurred, they are indeed because of the troll fishing in this region. Here we are north of Sicily, near Milazzo. And the third example, this is instead from bathymetric data, super high resolution bathymetric data in the Venice Lagoon, and we see the same, a lot of garbage in just less than 10 meters of water depth. So we have to keep this in mind, even if we do not see this commonly. It is an important point. Okay, the third point is the hotspot of climate change. So this is a curve. If you take the blue curve on and the average two curves, the green is the planet and the blue is the Mediterranean. So it shows that we are already above the 1.5 degrees of temperature anomaly. That is the target of the Paris Agreement. And next, and if we take the satellite data, we see also that this increase in temperature is not homogeneous in the basin, but is enhanced in the eastern side of the Mediterranean. And this increase in temperature is going to generate a more severe cyclogenesis, as we saw just in the last few years, increase the power of the windstorms, and a change in the hydrological cycle with droughts on one hand and the flash floods and heavy precipitation concentrated in few dramatic events. Next. Okay. Then it comes to the problem of the exploitation of the Mediterranean. This is an image taken from Limes, an Italian journal on geostrategy. And so the area is a key area connecting the Far East with the Atlantic. We are only 1% of the surface of the ocean, of the global ocean, but the Mediterranean is crossed by 25% of the global trades. And part of this traffic, let's say, with all the noise and pollution of the air and of the sea, is not going to give full advantage of to the 400 local ports and the fragmented economy of the basin. So it is just crossing, the environment is paying a price, but the wealth is not coming to the Mediterranean region. The other aspect, with our 1% of the surface, we get 7% of the global mismanaged plastic because of the kind of watershed and the kind of economy of the region. And as I said, it is overfished and it is heavily polluted. Nevertheless, it is an area in the world where we get more than 30% of the global tourism. So, of course, if we want to maintain this kind of economy, we have to solve all the problems said above. Any economical driver as a footprint of the environment, and I stay on the tourism just to say that this impact is, for instance, in the use of water, because tourists use 3-4 times the water normal people use at home, and give an increase of 50% of the contribution to plastic to the marine litter. And it is a driver for cementation of the coast, which is not a good solution for the basin and for its future. Next. So the next again. So this was just an example of one of the economic pressures. So I go to the conclusions, and I'm hoping to stay in the time allowed. So if we want to plan economical development in the region, we have to take into account all the scenarios driven by global change, and first of all, sea level rise and its impact on the coastal region, coastal erosion. And the other key point is that we should stop the dramatic reduction of biodiversity, which is affecting ecosystem all over the world, but also in the Mediterranean region. And we have to take into account the changes in the oceanographic circulation. I did not have time to develop much, but the basin has a number of critical aspects in the formation of deep waters and the risk of stagnation events that already occurred in the past. And we have to be prepared to the increasing occurrence of extreme events. And this has a social and economical impact for which we are not prepared at the moment. Then we have to consider the economical development, taking into account, let's say, the position and the internal organization of the basin. So the two aspects are the role of the Mediterranean in the world, and with respect to all the opening that is now going on towards the east and the far east. And we need to be more aware and exploit better and more sustainably this, let's say, strategic position. And on the other hand, we have to overcome the political fragmentation of the area, because 22 countries with different cultures, different ideas, need to keep discussing, sharing experiences, and come to common visions and act jointly with the spirit of the one ocean, and in this case, one small basin. Okay, and we finally need to be aware of all the pressures of the Mediterranean: pollution, water shortages, subsidence and desertification, and all the threats that this is posing on the infrastructures. Last, but very important, all what we have been saying has important socio-economical impacts and impacts on democracy and migration, access. And on this, we will have a keynote presentation tomorrow by Gramenos Mastroianni. So this is just to remind that with that view of the Mediterranean critical aspects, the BlueMed CSA developed the strategic agenda, defined the priorities, and reached the final implementation plan that is part of the discussion in this meeting. And Margherita will talk about this in a little while. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fabio, and thank you for keeping to time. So now we will have a brief retraction of the, or retracing, sorry, of the BlueMed tale from Margherita Cappelletto. She's also from the National Research Council of Italy, and she is the BlueMed CSA project manager. So take it away, Margherita.
Thank you very much, Sheila. Thank you, Fabio, from what Fabio presented and the figure and features highlighted in this slide. We see how important is the BlueMed initiative and the connection texture that we have built so far. Let me start with an episode that happened in 2017 in Malta. I remember it very well because it was the day before my birthday. I was asked to present the BlueMed CSA project that by that time was only 6 months old. And I was hesitant in listing the ambitious achievements. Now I can say on behalf of the consortium that we can be satisfied with what we achieved and how we supported the BlueMed initiative. From when we started 2016, we immediately wanted to enable a dialogue with in our hands the key framework of the BlueMed initiative, the strategic research and innovation agenda launched a year in advance in 2015 in Venice. We supported the organization of national events. We consulted over 40 coordinators of project for uptaking relevant projects for uptaking their results, and most importantly, we set up the BlueMed platform. This platform really enabled a cross-sector, cross-discipline and cross-country dialogue with a continuous feedback between the national level and the Mediterranean level. And it was thanks to this platform and the consensus reaching approach towards the BlueMed initiative delegates that we managed, as Fabio mentioned, first to update the strategic research agenda, then to select the 13 priorities, and finally deliver the implementation plan. This is really a key tool because there are recipes there on how action can be tackled. For each strategic action, the time frame is indicated, an attempt to define the commitment and also propose instrument. And we can see here our lorry happy because there is a lot already in the pipeline, thanks in particular to the many promotional actions that we have been carrying out, like workshops and training courses, among others. Let's take, for example, the priority on pollution. The BlueMed community proved its maturity by fast reacting to one of the major threats of the basin and launching the pilot action on healthy plastic-free Mediterranean Sea. You will hear her in a while a lot from this great initiative, and the BlueMed CSA supported the setup of the national hub and mapping and identification of relevant projects and initiative. We even organized an e-training course on marine litter that reached out to more than 400 registered participants. And our Magic 5 that you met yesterday also advocate for the BlueMed pilot, including by organizing collection campaign and actions in their countries. We even challenged the 4 network to implement the BlueMed vision completely bottom up, and you will hear tomorrow their excellent results and the feasibility studies they came. That is to say that there is a legacy here from the project, and we believe that thanks to the national programs and the synergies, and keep to work in synergy with the many organizations and initiatives that are active in the Mediterranean, we can really move forward to implement the strategic action of the BlueMed implementation plan. Just to conclude, if you go to the list of authors and contributors of the implementation plan, you will feel like in a movie production with a never-ending list of end titles. This is the power of our work. I think that over 300 people directly contributed to our works, and to them goes all our thanks.
Thank you very much, Margherita. That was great. It's really amazing to see all that you guys have achieved in the last couple of years. So now we're going to have a quick break. It's called a graphic break, I think, on the agenda, with the artist Gabriel Perez, who's going to give a graphic representation of the conference. And during this break, we'll be changing panelists. So we'll hopefully try and make up a little bit of time while you're looking at the Gabriel's art here. I will move panelists so that we can start the next panel hopefully as soon as we have everybody online, and try and make up a little bit of time. So you have a quick 5-minute break probably to go and grab a cup of coffee.